The OnePlus 9 represents the next generation of flagship OnePlus phones that are supposed to undercut the competition in price. OnePlus phone pricing has been creeping up over the past few years though, and this year, the Samsung Galaxy S21's pricing went down, making for somewhat of a convergence. With the OnePlus 9 coming in at $730 and the Galaxy S21 starting at $800, you might be wondering which phone to go for, especially since the Samsung Galaxy S21 has been discounted to only $760. I've reviewed the Galaxy S21 and more recently have been testing the OnePlus 9. Here are my thoughts on which phone you should go for. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps support my work and I would appreciate that support. The first thing to notice about these two devices is their design, and there are some pretty major differences between the phones, though there are also some similarities. They both have their triple lens camera modules on the top left corner of the back. That, however, is about where similarities end. Samsung took a different approach with the Galaxy S21 series, melting the camera module into the side rail, and that both helps make it look more premium and more unique. I really love the look of the Galaxy S21 in general, and next to it, the OnePlus 9 just looks a little dated. It's not ugly, just a little bit last gen. Both phones have a USB-C port, volume rocker, and power button around the edges. However, the OnePlus 9 also adds a ringer switch, which I really appreciate. I wish more phone makers would include a ringer switch. The phones come in different colors too. Now, it's a little difficult to pass judgment on the options considering I've only really used one of each, but I will say that I love the purple on gold on offer by the Galaxy S21, and much more so than the black OnePlus 9. Based on the pictures I've seen, I think my favorite OnePlus 9 color is the purplish winter mist. The displays on these phones are much closer than their designs. Both devices offer a 1080p display with a 120Hz refresh rate, and they both look great. The main differences are that the OnePlus 9's display is a little larger, while the Galaxy S21 has a hole punch cutout in the center instead of the top left. I don't really mind either, but if I had to pick, I would prefer having it in the center, as it helps make the phone look a little more symmetrical. Now, you might assume that having a 1080p display instead of a 1440p one is an issue, but you really won't notice much of a difference in day-to-day life. The 1440p displays on the OnePlus 9 Pro and the Galaxy S21 Ultra are a little sharper, to be sure, but I definitely prefer having the higher refresh rate to the higher resolution. Both phones have fingerprint sensors under the display, and they're both generally fast, accurate, and responsive. Samsung uses Qualcomm's latest ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is a big step up over the previous generation. OnePlus hasn't said which sensor it's using in the OnePlus 9, but I found it to do the job perfectly well. I will say I prefer the placement of the sensor on the Galaxy S21 compared to the OnePlus 9, which places its sensor right at the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure on the reasoning behind this decision, but the Galaxy S21 sensor is much easier to reach. The overall performance of these two phones is very similar too. Both devices offer Qualcomm's latest and greatest Snapdragon 888 processor, while the Galaxy S21 offers 8GB of RAM and the OnePlus 9 offers options for either 8 or 12GB. I'm reviewing the 12GB model of the OnePlus 9, but frankly the 8GB Galaxy S21 felt just as responsive. It's possible the extra RAM will play a role down the line when the phones are a few years old, but only time will really tell. Generally, both phones are super responsive, extremely powerful, and able to do anything you can throw at them. That includes mobile gaming, heavy multitasking, and so on. The OnePlus phone is likely to perform slightly better considering the extra RAM and more stripped-back software, but the differences aren't noticeable right now. Then there's the camera, and it's perhaps one of the main points of difference between these two devices. OnePlus has partnered with Hasselblad for the camera on the OnePlus 9, with the hope being that it'll make for better photos. Ultimately, however, the OnePlus 9 still doesn't quite reach the heights of other flagship phones. On the OnePlus 9, you'll get a triple camera setup with one 48MP main camera, one 50MP ultra-wide camera, and one 2MP monochrome camera. The Galaxy S21, on the other hand, has a 12MP main camera, a 64MP telephoto camera, and a 12MP ultra-wide camera. Considering the inclusion of a telephoto lens instead of a monochrome camera, the Galaxy S21 will make for a much more versatile experience. The Galaxy S21 also takes higher quality photos. Details are a little sharper, colors are a little more natural, and you can tell that Samsung just has a little more experience building smartphone cameras. That's not to say it's perfect. Details and low light shots actually seemed a little better on the OnePlus phone compared to the Galaxy S21. But in most other situations, you're likely to get better photos from the Galaxy device. The software experience on these two phones is also pretty radically different. OnePlus has been tweaking its software more of late, straying further and further from stock Android. Thankfully, however, Oxygen OS is still very stripped back, and most of the tweaks are minor visual ones. I actually quite like Oxygen OS in general, as a fan of stock Android. Samsung's One UI, on the other hand, takes the opposite approach. It's heavily modified by Samsung, and the result is that it offers much more customization and features than other versions of Android. But it also includes includes some bloatware, like random extra Microsoft apps and stuff that others don't really need. I prefer Oxygen OS to One UI, but others may feel differently. The OnePlus 9 isn't a bad phone by any means, and there are some things that I prefer about it. For example, I love the software experience you'll get on OnePlus phones, plus there are small tweaks like the ringer switch, which add to everything. Ultimately, however, the Galaxy S21 is just a better phone. It offers as good performance, but it also looks a whole lot nicer than the OnePlus 9 and has a better camera. I'm hoping OnePlus learns from the release of the OnePlus 9 series. The company once offered devices that seriously undercut the competition in terms of pricing, but with the difference in pricing shrinking, it's harder to justify the low quality camera and other cut corners. OnePlus either needs to build a truly flagship phone next time around or cut prices a little. You can get both the OnePlus 9 and the Galaxy S21 for yourself using the links in the description. Thanks so much for watching this video, and again, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if it was helpful to you. My name is Christian, and I'll see you next time. See ya.